He tries to take it out there. He goes, it's easier to get it off in front of the people because your energy's going.
Well, you think that would be the part of the appeal of it is to pull it off in front of the crowd.
You can't get it off, dude.
No.
It's so you just saw them fight with it.
But like you said, the adrenaline rush, or it's not in there deep enough, or I don't know, bro. I just don't see the logic behind it.
What are some of the hard? I mean, obviously, when you work IWA shows, you get a chance to also see some of the shows. A lot of times, you're on early in the show, so you get to see some of those death matches. What
are you trying to say? I wasn't a main eventer, fucking man. Jesus Christ,
take it back.
Hey, I would if I went past like the opening 3 matches, it was because like there was a fucking mistake, like, oh, we gotta put this match on. We gotta shuffle it off. Like I'd be like,
they're not here yet. Chucky, get out there.
I'd be like, send my main event and go 5 minutes.
What are some of the hardcore matches that stick out to you that you remember watching back in the day?
Oh shit, man. I don't know. They all kind of blend together. Like, there's just dudes who were just that don't get much props, but like guys like Cash Flow and Tony, like these fucking guys who just killed themselves. And Cash Flow was such a tough motherfucker. Like he's somebody who had such natural talent. I remember one time prior to a show, like Punk and Cabana are in the ring, like trying to do some kind of flip, and I think one of them was trying to do like whatever they were trying to do. Where you do Juventud Guerrero used to do them, where you spin around like a 350 or what's it called, a 450.
Okay.
Yeah, they were trying to do a 450 or some shit, and Cash Flow just went out there and fucking did it, bro. just was like, let me try, and like fucking climbed the top ropes and did it. And he was a big boy, bro. He was probably he was over 6 foot and like just naturally thick.
Hefty,
like if he had got on some gas, like he probably could have done something. But he was just a bad dude, man. Like. He'd do all that crazy fucking shit, and he wouldn't have any shirt on ever, and just his back would just look like a fucking mess. And it's so much nicer to watch that shit as a mark and have a guy who looks like he's tough and looks like he's a badass fucking guy, as opposed to some kid who weighs 150 fucking pounds, man. Like Cash Flow, if you saw Cash Flow on the street, like you wouldn't want to fuck with this dude.
Right.
Like he'll beat
Corporal
the fuck
Robinson,
out of you. Yeah, even Corporal Robinson, who was never a big guy. Corporal had something about him, the way he carried himself, just his attitude and presence. Like he's tough. Like he's not gonna fight. He's gonna fight. But like, I looked at some of these deathmatch things on YouTube before I came on here and just like watched some videos. And all these fucking guys looked like backyarders, man. They all had t-shirts on. None of them had any fucking gear. None of them were over 150 fucking pounds. It didn't look like, you know, like there's a few exceptions, but Jesus. But I remember
there's definitely key guys that do it, kind of all over the country. There's a couple of guys that are over for doing it. Other than that, it's a lot of shit.
Yeah, it's few. CZW is the only place that's really doing it where you get over at all doing it.
But it just seems like there's no build up to anything, man. It's like
CZW does a good job. They do.
Really?
If you pay attention now, they just do one big death match now.
Okay.
And then don't get me wrong, they have their death match tournament.
Maybe that's probably what I saw was a tournament. It was just light bulb tube after light bulb tube after light bulb tube.
Yeah, that's a little different.
Yeah.
And I
but like Cage Death, they figure
they
out cool
build
ways.
these huge structures, and they do like Elimination Chamber is nothing comparison to their last show.
I saw one. Okay, when IWA, this is I don't know. Whenever CZW was first starting to get over, and basically it was ripping off IWA. But because they were on the East Coast,
and ECW,
they were getting well, like as far as like the staple guns and all the fucking crazy hardcore shit with like thumbtack bats. And all
so
that.
When Ian says that shit, he kind of started.
Oh yeah, without a fucking doubt, bro. Without a fucking doubt. Like Ian was the one, Ian and Pondo went to CZW and showed them guys how to do it. Man, they were the big match that gave them props because Ian fucking gave Pondo a lobotomy, took the scissors and sliced his head open, and then they never brought him back. They never brought Ian back because Ian probably wanted a payday and then probably wanted more after that because Ian's a worker. Good for him.
Sure.
But I had gotten a CZW tape like from Hero or some shit, because they were starting to get all kinds of press just because the East Coast at the time. Look at all the guys. For one, like me, Punk and Cabana used to always talk about how, it was the shits out there and how the Midwest was where all the talent was.
Do you want to explain, just pause this for a second, explain how you said Punk and Cabana. You did ride a lot with them.
Yeah. Like for about probably, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years.
You were on the road with them during like the Hero Punk Classic 92-minute match. Were you on the road with them at that time?
You know what? That's when about the time I was starting to phase out.
Okay.
But all leading up to that, and in and out around that point. Like a lot of times, I started traveling by myself. Sometimes, around that shit, like I would have another show, or I would just, want to be by myself. But getting back to that, like, or with the whole Punk Cabana thing, going back to, should I want to go back to IWA with that whole shit we were talking about?
Right.
All right. So when I got in with IWA, it was just me and Prazak for the longest time. And we were the only, like, non-outside people there. And I remember all the time the IWA guys would be like, why the fuck are you coming here? Like, isn't there any wrestling in Chicago? Like, they didn't get it. Either it was passive-aggressive or they just didn't get it. Like, why are you coming here? And I'm like, well, because IWA is awesome. And not to sound like an asshole, when I was first getting into wrestling, one of the guys that kind of put me over the edge to, like, you know what, fuck it, I'm small, but I'm going to try this anyway, was American Kickboxer. Like, I had seen a bunch of shit at Kickboxer, and he was a little guy, and, he was even smaller than I was, and he was getting write-ups on the internet, and just, was one of the first, like, indie darlings that I could think of, him and his matches with Tarek and all that, So I remember saying to myself, if I could wrestle for IWA, like, I'd be happy, like, if that's how far I made it in the business, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it was a thrill to get in there. Well, anyway.
It's so weird to see where it's at today and the crumble and collapse of it.
Oh, yeah, it's depressing. But, so I was doing IWA and Carmine's, and Punk and Cabana had actually had a tryout match with Carmine's before I had even got there, and Carmine shit on both of them and didn't use them for, like, 2 years following it, maybe a little less.
Interesting.
And then I think Cabana was the first one to come down to IWA, and there was a buddy of mine who came down around the same time. I don't know if you guys remember him. He did the Repsol shows with me when I was there. What the fuck was his name? Kid Trailer Park was the gimmick he went under.
Oh, dude, that's the guy that on Havoc show out in DeKalb.
Oh, that was legendary.
You and him had the main event match with the staple gun.
Oh my god! And there were like
everyone,
two people there.
and everyone was so fucking wasted.
Oh my god!
Everyone on the show was fucking obliterated.
Yeah, that was surreal. That was just like a fever dream, Like I just remember being there and being like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Dude, remember Machine sliced his fucking head open on the ceiling because the ceiling was so low?
Yeah, that's just totally indie wrestling. It was completely sad.
Absolutely. Well, hey, we're about an hour in. You want to take our first break here, kind of decompress a little bit, come back. I want to ask you a little bit about more about CM Punk and where he is at now, and maybe get your opinion on him, and are you surprised and all that stuff.
Cool.
So we'll get to that here in just a few minutes. Is this my break here first?
It is my break.
Your break, okay.
What's the significance of the breaks?
We each pick a song and a clip.
Ooh.
You like that?
Yeah.
A little musical selection and then an audio clip of some sort, something provocative to get your mind going.
There we go.
So we'll be back right here on In the Rotation.
This break's brought to you by Vito Tabaselli.
Well, secretive and elite. The Bilderberg Group unites the world's most powerful people behind closed doors. It's been happening for decades, and this year it's in Chantilly, Virginia, at the Marriott Hotel. The secrecy surrounding the conference has sparked many theories as to what exactly goes on in the meetings. Some even believe it's a venue where the world's most rich and powerful conspire to carve out a new world order. RT correspondent Abby Martin was in Chantilly, Virginia today to let us know what's happening outside of the Bilderberg Conference and joins us now to tell us all about it. Abby, nice to see you. So we have a lot of powerful people all in one room. Happens all the time. So what's all the fuss about?
I think the fuss is especially about this meeting. It's different than other meetings because there is no corporate press coverage. We see a lot of meetings happening. We just saw NATO, G8. It seems like everyone in the world knows about that. And there's tons of press, tons of protests. But unlike the Bilderberg Group, or like the Bilderberg Group, let me say that again. The Bilderberg Group doesn't have any press. There's no press releases. There's no official attendee press release out there. So no one really knows who it is that attends or what they're talking about.
And so you were there outside. I know you couldn't get too close, but there were protests, I understand. What exactly are they protesting?
They're protesting the egregious violation of federal law. There's an act called the Logan Act, which says that you cannot meet with foreign diplomats without congressional oversight. And I think that that's really the main key here is people are like, hold on, why are there 130 of the most powerful world players in banking, mining, oil, food, media, defense, and politics? Why are they all getting together and meeting in secrecy behind closed doors without any congressional oversight or really any awareness of what it is they're talking about?
Now, we have some of the most powerful people in the world, so you can presume that something is happening, something important is kind of brewing, but we don't know what. And that's kind of bred a lot of theories. Do we know what they could be talking about?
Well, I think some theories have arisen because of things like the Euro, the North American Union, these policies that have kind of been presented right after the Bilderberg Group that people kind of speculate, hold on, were these things theorized in this meeting? And you saw in 2008 when Obama infamously kind of skirted his press corps, which is with him 24/7, onto another plane and said that he was going to be meeting with Hillary in Virginia, multiple meetings with multiple people, and it was never really disclosed what was happening. And then right after that, we saw that she was, a very high position in his cabinet. So people speculate, what's going on at these meetings? Are these powerful political players being picked for policy positions? And it's just completely unknown to the public. And so people are speculating that this year, like every year in the past, they think that they're conspiring or maybe theorizing on how to control the Occupy Wall Street movement, control the Arab Spring movement, and how to control the currency. And I think that's what people are really worried about.
And so, since people can't come in and they can't hear what they're talking about, it is a lot of speculation, a lot of the theories that you just mentioned. But is there any evidence to back up these suspicions or to back up these claims?
There's no hard evidence other than what David Rockefeller and also people in the Bilderberg Group have come out and said. I mean, all you can do is look at the members who have attended. There are leaks, there are moles inside Bilderberg every year that kind of put out things that were talked about, even though they're sworn to secrecy. Media moguls who go there are sworn to secrecy, but things do come out. And they talk about, they release to the public what is being talked about and what is being said. And what these people say when they're confronted by independent journalists, what was said there, what do you guys do there? They just say, oh, well, we just meet and talk. The problem about that is, when do 130 of the world's most powerful people just get together and just talk and have beers? They talk about policy, and they talk about things that affect the entire world. So the evidence really is the policies that we see after these meetings being implemented. And you just have to look at the people who are involved and what comes out of it. And it's really all speculation. But then again, is it?
Right.
Really,
well, the buzz this year is Marco Rubio. That's what they're kind of talking about behind closed doors, that he will be the pick for the Romney's running mate. Any word about that while you were there?
No word about that. People have been speculating that, and we'll definitely see what happens. We know that John Edwards was picked after attending the Bilderberg Group in 2004, and then he was picked as John Kerry's running mate. So people have said, did they handpick him to really run it? It is really interesting, and we see in David Rockefeller's memoir, he says, if people charge me for running a secret cabal, I stand proud of it, and I hold those charges to be true. Against American interests. He said this himself, and he is an integral member. He is the member of the Bilderberg Steering Committee that handpicks these 130 people every year, and it's kind of like they're shining stars of who they think that they could really pursue whatever it is they feel they need to.
So today is day one of the Bilderberg Conference. What's next? Any big protests? Are they expected to grow in the coming days as this plays out?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the first year, I think, where Occupy Wall Street and kind of the anti-New World Order crowd have really joined forces. And so we see the Occupy Bilderberg movement happening. We see hundreds of people that were out there today, which was really interesting because it's early Thursday and it's only expected to grow. Alex Jones came out there with his bullhorn right when I was taking off back to the studios, and he just told me, he said, he expects thousands of people, especially on Saturday and Sunday when people are not at work and are able to show up. So it should be very
on Alex Jones to shake things up, that's
exactly.
for sure. Abby, thanks for keeping us updated. That was RT correspondent Abby Martin.
I thought I'm sold. I strolled on down the road in C-walk mode to the wizard I'm told. But twists and turns. I'm having no luck as my vanilla blunt burns. I'm seeing trees with faces, bushes that walk, and as far as I can see, nobody drawn in chalk. And the sky's bright green, sometimes it's kinda pink. I'ma twist another blunt here, sit down and think. How the fuck, what the fuck, who the fuck, and when? What the fuck I'm doing here, I would've figured the pin.